This may be the most creepy painting I've ever seen, and I think I may have figured out who it is. But first, we need to break down the image itself. On the table, we can clearly see Chase J.P. Morgan on the cash. We have a man with flowers behind his back in his boxers, covering his mouth with what appears to be a shush sign. And disturbingly, to his left is a mirror with a reflection of Snow White. Now, if you go to the DOJ website and you type in Snow White, 60 results will pop up. In one of those files is a message from Jess Staley stating, "That was fun, say hi to Snow White." And Jeffrey responds, "What character would you like next?" Now, I found an even more disturbing email that was sent on the exact same date as the prior email. It was a message from someone who's redacted, which is very odd to me, to Jeffrey. It reads, "The Snow White was effed twice as soon as she put on her costume." Now, if that wasn't disturbing enough, with a little bit of research, you would see that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the 1937 version, Snow White was only 14 years old. Now, referring back to the emails, who is Jess Staley? Well, Jess Staley worked at JP Morgan from 1990 to 2013. Maybe that's just a coincidence, but take a look at this. With a quick Google search, you can see a very strange image. Jess Staley with his finger over his mouth. Well, that looks oddly similar to the painting that we were just looking at. If you put these two images side by side, you can't tell me that is not the same person.
Scott with SJWellfire.com. Final Days Report, episode 477. The burning of Mexico by the drug cartels smells like a psyop. I'm going to tell you what to expect, what the outcome of this. Personally, I think this is theater. Yes, people die. Yes, buildings burn. But it smells like a psyop. I'll give you some evidence thereof and what to expect. Trump poisons you again. Make America healthy again is a joke. And then we're going to cover who runs the world. And of course, we'll talk scripture in the end. Now, the first slide I want to cover, U.S. intel helped Mexico in raid that killed drug lord, White House says. Why would they post that? And why I think Mexico burning is a total psyop with the killing of this drug lord is, one, USA Inc. runs the drugs. Watch Clinton Chronicles. So much evidence we've covered in this ministry the last 4 years. Remember, the Mexican president is part of the tribe. Her ponytail before she was elected was on The Economist magazine owned by the Rothschilds. Trump ear was showing before he was so-called shot in the ear. And if you believe that, check out some of our VCasts on sjwellfire.com. If you're a Trump fan, search sjwellfire.com. Wings of the same bird, the right-left narrative, order out of chaos. Left creates a crisis, the right comes in with solutions like Palantir, like censoring the net, and the left wants to censor the net as well. Both of them have the same New World Order agenda. So here's the big piece of this, and this is an end of days news ministry, and the only reason I'm doing this is I'd have dreams that literally would come true, and years ago, I had a dream. I don't know if they were Mexican drug cartels, foot soldiers, or Iranians, but their skin tone was brown, and they viciously attacked a train station. You can check the dream out on sjwellfire.com. And then I've seen U.S. cities burning and fake cops shooting at cops, just total chaos. So expect chaos in the United States. Expect chaos in the West. So they allow all the illegals in, just open borders with the West. This is a satanic New World Order Kabbalah plan. But why? Why would they do this? What's the solution? Well, Trump's first term, we're going to implement the biodigital metrics tracking system on land, sea, everywhere, but that's going to be used against you. They need to create fear. They need to program you to accept their digital IDs that will be linked to 6G, surveilling every blade of grass. 6G will be run by artificial intelligence. Lockdown 2.0. We've covered how 911 call centers, many of them are run by Israel companies, which I think is the woman of the book of Revelation. We've done 2 or 3 Bible studies thereof. Like I said, facial recognition, a surveillance pole in every city. I'm going to say that again, a surveillance pole in every city. They want to control travel via tech and roadblocks. We've covered the stories, how they want to implement where they can just shut down your car, maybe 2, 3, 4 podcasts ago. Then they want to control the money. They want to use the excuse, one of the excuses, besides that cash is dirty with the next pandemic, they want to be able to track everything you do. This all fits ID 2020 that we harp on all the time. And here's my proof point. An article recently. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, seeks enterprise-wide biometric matching software in sweeping new RFI. So they're requesting for information RFI to build and unite every biometric system that the government has and put it into one system. Think about Amazon that's supported by the government with every package that's shipped, or at least it was, launching Ring, and then Trump loosening the biometric surveillance system regulations. This is nothing short of a playbook. Think about Israel explosions of buses. Yes, I'm sure some Muslims have done it, but is this a playbook? That's the question I have.
Violence has broken out in several cities across Mexico, hours after the army confirmed it had killed one of the country's most feared drug lords. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. He was shot in a dawn raid and died from his injuries. Mexico said the operation was carried out with U.S. intelligence. Will Grant reports.
Nemesio Oseguera, known as El Mencho, was quite simply the most wanted drug lord in Mexico. Responsible for trafficking huge quantities of cocaine, methamphetamine and fentanyl into the United States, he'd evaded the authorities for years, until now. So far, the Mexican military has not released images, but El Mencho was injured during a raid in Jalisco State and then died while being taken to Mexico City. The Mexican embassy in the US said it was carried out with US intelligence. The reaction from his cartel has been immediate and violent. Unverified pictures, thought to be filmed in Puerto Vallarta on the Jalisco coast, show plumes of smoke rising over the tourist hotspot. And there's destruction across Mexico, including in Guadalajara, one of the host cities of this summer's FIFA World Cup. The US has warned its citizens to shelter in place as the violence unfolds. The killing of El Mencho represents a clear victory for President Claudia Sheinbaum and for President Trump, who's long demanded more progress on tackling Mexican cartels. But with some Mexican cities in flames, it's not yet clear at what cost.
Then what's the solution? All those things I just mentioned. 1984 on steroids. So expect sleeper cells activated in USA. I'll put a thumbnail up too. I played somebody that had or read an article about somebody that came in illegally and then was being trained by the CIA to create mass destruction here in the United States. The United States is bankrupt. And the other thing I was thinking about with the 10 King map, personally, I think this might be tech companies, but let's say it's a map or a combination of both. Think about the map we've covered the last 3-4 podcasts of us going after Venezuela. This is the technocracy map that Elon Musk keeps pushing about, technocracy government. So if you have chaos in Mexico and that chaos spews over into the United States, but the United States runs the drugs, CIA runs the drugs. That's a well-known fact. The government creates the drugs. They created acid. Basically, if all of this bloodshed falls over the United States, great excuse to join with Mexico to combat the drug cartels. And I just thought this was an interesting headline from New York Post. El Chapo's wife, supposedly he's in prison, returns to court wearing a Star of David necklace. A Moloch demon necklace. Make no mistake about it. So are we watching theater? A production? A script? Yes, death will be real. World War III, I think death will be real, but it'll be a script. All right, you hit here, you get this territory. Because they're all run by the same central bankers, the Rothschilds, that, oh, by the way, have been in the Epstein files. So what's the goal? The goal is a war on God's creation and the church. Read the book of Revelation, my friends. And Trump, I'm calling him Toxic Trump. Make America healthy again? What a joke. He's poisoning you again. First round, as the days of Noah devil juice.
The mRNA so-called vaccines are not vaccines in the least bit. It appears they even changed the definition of vaccine to meet the criteria to be able to include these mRNA injections. So what the mRNA shots are is what's called a gene transfer platform. So it's taking modified messenger RNA, which has been modified to last very long in the body, which literally makes it so stable your body can't break it down. They put them in what's called lipid nanoparticles. So kind of these bubbles made of fat, you could think of, that easily go inside the cells. And so what that happens is when they inject you with the mRNA injections, instead of, killed pathogens kind of perhaps staying near the arm, these bubbles go everywhere, literally everywhere. They go to your brain, your heart, they go to your bone marrow, they go to your reproductive system, they go everywhere. And then this modified messenger RNA goes out of the bubbles it goes inside of your cells in these organ systems and tells those cells to become a toxic spike protein production factory. So it's basically telling your heart, telling your brain to literally become non-human protein production factories. So it's making them, instead of producing the proteins they should be making, essential for human function, they will begin to produce a weird monster Frankenstein protein developed in a laboratory. And so then that marks those organ systems for autoimmune attack. So then that's why your own body will then begin to attack the heart, myocarditis. It'll begin to attack the brain, strokes. That's why we see strokes. And it'll destroy the immune system. That's why we see turbo cancers. And so all of what I just described is not a vaccine. When you start to have foreign, non-self proteins like expressing themselves in your body, your immune system does not want that. It thinks they're foreign invaders. And so, it will program your immune system to start to attack wherever that spike protein is being produced. It doesn't care where it is. It sees a foreign invader, it wants to eliminate it. Unfortunately, in the process, that can eliminate healthy tissues as well. And that's why the adverse event profile is so large and wide. And it literally spans every single bodily system because it goes everywhere and it has that same type of mechanism.
But this is insanity. From Health Impact News, Trump issues executive order to produce more glyphosate, that's Roundup, herbicide in the U.S. after Bayer settles cancer lawsuit, so it causes cancer, for hundreds of millions of dollars. And the article goes on to talk about how Roundup or glyphosate is used in war for Agent Orange. They sprayed this stuff over Vietnam. The government had to pay multiple soldiers because of their cancer. This is satanic. This is a war on God's seed. Unbelievable. Eat as clean as you can, my friends. And then here's the big picture. I've seen within dreams them going after Christians. And obviously it's biblical. It's in the Word of God. It's prophecy. And personally, I think ICE is the mark of the beast army. I've done multiple podcasts thereof. ICE is in 50 countries with 90 offices. And then ultimately, ICE will become transhumanists and or robots. But folks, the real Christians that don't want to partake in their system will be labeled as domestic terrorists. And the others will believe it because they'll be under mind control, this brain-computer interface. But this is telling. And this is going to set up a new regulation, I guess, by the Trump administration.
Armies train against expected enemies. For decades, ours trained against Soviet-style forces, then Islamic insurgents. But newly obtained documents reveal a new primary enemy for New Zealand troops: Christians defending traditional values. In a fictional country mirroring the South Island, soldiers are ordered to destroy the VPF, a group labelled extremists for favouring their traditions over a Muslim immigrant community. The rules of engagement authorise lethal force on site. This conditions soldiers on who to see as the enemy, who to shoot. While this narrative paints Christians with traditional views as violent terrorists, what does the reality show? Of New Zealand's current 23 designated terrorist entities, 0 are Christian. So we ask, why is the NZDF framing traditional Christians as violent extremists and conditioning our soldiers to kill them?
I'll tell you why, because Satanists run the world, which we'll go over with the E-files. But here's where it gets crazy of this article. It's a bit of a long read, but this is a smokescreen to go after Christians involved in politics and more, pastors, the black robe regiment that we'll get into. So keep that in the back of your mind. Christians that are against the mark of the beast system, Christians that are against Noahide laws, Christians that speak against what's happening with the genocide. But let's read it. NSPM 7, new federal strategy. This is strategy instead of a regulation, as I said earlier. The new federal strategy for countering domestic terrorism and political violence adds enforcement risks. President Donald Trump issued a national security presidential memorandum, NSPM 7, on September 25th, 2025, titled Countering Domestic Terrorism and Organized Political Violence. At first, when you read this, you think of George Soros, but no. How can this be used against the true enemy of these Satanists? Because, again, the right-left is political theater. Through this directive, President Trump tasked major federal agencies to investigate, persecute, and disrupt entities and individuals engaged in acts of political violence and intimidation. That's a key word, intimidation. If you're calling out evil, is that intimidation? And to disrupt financial networks and fund domestic terrorists and political violence. According to U.S. Secretary of Treasury and Acting Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, that's a private organization, the Treasury Department and IRS will leverage their investigative and financial tools to follow the money to map such networks and financial flows of organizations. The NSPM 7 does not create new legal authority, but signals the aggressive use of existing statutes in a new context. So they're reframing intimidation. They're reframing political violence. Speak up against Israel? Political violence? Really? It's just facts. It's not intimidation. This is a false flag waiting to happen. I bet they're going to go after churches with this as well. They're going to go after Christians that run for government. The White House fact sheet that accompanied the issuance of NSPM 7 provides some indication of the type of actions expected to be enforcement priorities, stating that the approach will focus on all aspects of the organized strategy that results in political violence and intimidation. Again, intimidation, what's that? Including radicalization. So if you're a Christian, are you radical? Recruitment, if you're recruiting people to join your church, is that bad? Funding mechanism, 501c3 type churches. Non-governmental organizations involvement. Churches involvement. Related financial crimes and ultimate acts of political violence and intimidation themselves. Again, intimidation bugs me. Calling out the evil, is that intimidation? There's examples of that. According to the press reports, U.S. Attorney General Pam let all the Epstein predators go, Bondi, issued a related memo on December 4th, 2025 that, among other things, ordered federal prosecutors and law enforcement to prioritize investigating and persecuting potential crimes involving extremist groups. We just played that war game, Shoot to Kill, against Christian groups, including applicable tax crimes, and instructed the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigations to coordinate the law enforcement partners to compile a list of entities possibly related to domestic terrorism. The memo also apparently directs the FBI to adjust its tip line, including by offering cash rewards for reporting suspected acts of domestic terrorism. A rat line. This is smoke and mirrors to go after God-fearing people trying to make a difference. And there's history behind this. The black-robed regiment during the Revolutionary War was a term coined by the British for influential American clergy who supported the revolution, often preaching independence in their black clerical robes. These pastors were critical to the patriot cause, using their pulpits to advocate for civil and religious liberty. If you really study history, they were going after, the crown was going after pastors. Give me liberty or give me death. Forcing pastors to register. So again, this NSPM 7 directive strategy reminds me of their enemies, probably pastors that speak against Israel, conservatives calling out Israel, Noahide law, people that say this is evil, people that are going to be against brain-computer interface, pokes, Mark of the Beast system, and those that speak about preserving the King James Version Bible, or Bibles that are not Schofield-type Bibles, that are going to be labeled as hate speech. You can see this coming a mile away. A mile away. Remember, MAGA, the term MAGA is the highest rank for the Church of Satan. No self-respected brand manager would ever do that. So who are the leaders of the world? They're the Epstein types, my friends. OMG. AG Pam Bondi was covertly recorded revealing previously undisclosed information about Epstein. The O'Keefe Media Group on Thursday released an undercover video of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi revealing previously undisclosed information about Jeffrey Epstein. This is before the so-called release. In an April 28th recording, Pam Bondi revealed to a stranger in a D.C. restaurant that there are tens of thousands of videos of little kids for the FBI to comb through. Where are all those videos? Not that we want to see the perversion, but this is sick. Do you know when the Epstein files are going to be released? A concerned citizen asked Pam Bondi. We hope soon. When pressed for more information, Bondi added, no. You know what it is? There are tens of thousands of videos, and it's all with little kids. And we know what's going on with them. The cannibalism.
Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe from the restaurant and sends a warm hello. He is working at a restaurant called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if this is okay with you. What the fuck? This is so cooked, man. Yes, after Blank leaves, can Blank make some jerky? I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water if possible, lodge and ranch central if needed, if main house is not enough. I hope you're feeling better. Did we analyse the jerky? Remember he would get like welts on his face as like a reaction to eating human meat. This makes me feel sick. I don't know if I can read any more of this. Why didn't we get jerky this week? Blank said you could not do it until Friday. Please explain. Thank you. I tried phoning, but it seems you were sleeping on the couch the whole day. Thank you so much. I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Are they talking about seasoning human meat? Is that what that means? We'll know more tomorrow night. Oh, and the next date seems really great. Why are they blanking the names of these people? Thank you so much. Super cool. IT guy is setting up service right now. We are ridiculously excited. And beef jerky delicious. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. Happy Thanksgiving. They ate human meat on Thanksgiving. Jojo is here and will walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Please, you just go on your own to Leon's office. Melanie is Leon's assistant. I will alert Melanie you are coming to see Jeffrey. Reply back, please. They were serving up human meat like it was a delicacy. Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful, above all, for your friendship. A small insulated bag would be just fine. I wouldn't recommend equal hecking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. Hi Blank, there is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well and bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a cold insulated bag, right? Do you mean you prepared only 3 ounces per day? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, roughly 2 pounds, and it only lasted half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. How often were they eating human meat? My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will then go to Steve and the rest of you at LSJ when I arrive, keeping it all on the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I feel like this is the type of stuff that you would find on the dark web. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. JE said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. Oh, well, there you go. If you didn't believe that jerky wasn't the code word, well, you do now. That said, he has 6 bags of it in the downstairs freezer for his next trip. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Any other questions, please let me know. Thank you, Francis. Hi, Blank. JE is asking to bring him more beef jerky on Friday. Are you also flying on Friday? If not, I would like to collect it from you and take with me on the plane. Please let me know. Thanks. Yeah, they would be flying it on private jets, wouldn't they? Because that wouldn't go down too well in customs, would it? I mean, I guess they wouldn't know. Is there a time I could come by, say hi, and drop off the beef jerky? Man, I feel sick after this.
The blood sacrifice, probably adrenochrome. I tried to find this video. It's been scrubbed. Pam Bondi is facing strong reactions after saying that if prosecutors charge everyone linked to the Epstein files, the whole system would collapse. Good.
Yesterday, Pam Bondi says, and I quote, "If we prosecute everyone in the Epstein files, the whole system collapses." Yes, that is exactly what we want, Pam Bondi. Martin Dart responds, "Our system allowed wealthy men to imprison and sexually brutalize little kids. It deserves to collapse." I 100% agree.
They're protecting these Luciferian Satanists. It's lawlessness time. This is an end of days sign is the point. Laws for you, laws for them. And then the other hearing, I thought it was hilarious with Thomas Massey saying, I'm not sure why she's talking about the stock market. This is a crazed world. And it reminds me of Catherine Austin Fitz when I first was waking up years ago. I remember she was in front of people talking about the theft of the U.S. government in trillions of dollars and the drug money, how the government runs the drugs, and basically saying, hey, would you let your 401k fall a little bit and the system collapse? Raise your hand. And it was crickets. So she's calling out the crimes, but people are in love with their 401ks. It's all going to burn in the end, my friends. Now, what's their philosophy? I've heard this 3 or 4 times from Satanists and former Satanists, the Aleister Crowley, do as you wilt. Your perception of evil is up to you. So this is a crazy interview a friend sent me. And this all fits the changing of words where they're trying to say a minor attracted person is not a pedophile. Now, show me a minor attracted person, I will show you a pedophile is a famous quote somebody got doxxed for and censored for, I think in Europe. Show me a minor attracted person, I'll show you a pedophile. This is sick, though. This is an academic. This is what they're teaching your kids.
Everybody who's been raped attracted that rape into their
1,300
life.
cases of pedophilia.
And the children attracted the pedophile.
You really want to go there? Let's go. All these things that we label good and bad have been labeled good or bad depending on who you're taking sides with.
I have a really hard time with this. If I went home today and somebody was assaulting my wife, I would forcibly stop it.
Probably.
Because you would value... probably, 100% certainly. I wouldn't say, maybe this is his belief and this is my belief.
You're going to react in that setting exactly proportioned to your morality at the time. If you see what he's doing as evil, you're going to do what you can to stop him.
But it is evil.
In your perception, it will be.
It's not okay to beat a child to a pulp. It's not okay to sexually assault a child. There is something actually fundamental inside of us that is on a driving force towards life, love, freedom, the experience to live this beautiful world. And if somebody is intentionally interfering with that, we have an obligation to try and prevent or stop it. You can override your impulses. I've wanted to hit somebody and not done it.
You've repressed it inside yourself and then attacked your customers right here in front of me.
I'm attacking you?
Well, you're basically taking information that goes against what you say, and you're saying, I'm just going to refuse to put it on my show because of it. It's like a fight to you. It doesn't match your belief system, so you're ready to fight. And
your hands are shaking.
When you say that you're going to not go any further on a podcast because of what I'm saying,
because
that means it challenges you and you're wanting to avoid it.
No, because it's putting out information that I think is detrimental to the world.
I'm not going to pacify my research for any human being on this planet. Nobody. The reality is that there's upsides to that event.
There's upsides to the murder of children?
Yes, there's upsides to it.
I think we're going to have to stop here, John.
Mind-bending. Mind-bending. Now, you need to think about who controls Hollywood, who controls academia, the health system, where all the perversion, all the war against God's creation exists. And I don't know how this hit my feed, but all of a sudden, this popular artist named, I think it's just called, he's called The Weeknd. That's the name of the band or name of him. And he sells out a bunch of concerts. And I scrolled through one of his concerts and it's pure Lucifer worship. I'm showing some pictures if you're listening to a podcast. He starts out his concert with a church and a light beaming down, and it looks like a black cube. I'm showing him in a black robe that is totally occult satanic, and his eyes are glowing yellow. Is that a transhumanism play? Demon possession play? I'm not 100% sure. Then he's singing with all these dancers in red robes. I mean, it looks like an occult satanic ceremony. And there's this golden statue, but it's all red. The whole picture is red, just demonic Lucifer worship. And the crowd, I mean, this is a huge arena. This guy is very, very popular. And then the last picture I'm showing is a pyramid of these dancers all dressed in the satanic red robes. He's on the top with his black robe, on the top of this pyramid, and a fallen angel, he's reaching up to it. And the crowd is going nuts. The crowd is loving it. This is what is happening. It's pure Satanism. Probably the best website you can go to is a call for an uprising that just nails this stuff. But this is just so in your face. There's such spiritual blindness. I just want to end with this. 2 Peter chapter 3, 10 through 14, because in the end, it's all going to burn. It's all going to burn. And this scripture also, to me, puts a knife through easy believism. Going back to the theme of, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm saved, but do as you wilt. You better watch that, my friends. We all sin, we all fall short. But break from the flesh. Everything Pastor Larry talks about, get the armor of God on. Ephesians 6. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That doesn't sound like a pre-trib rapture to me. That sounds like a post-trib rapture. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Because you need to ask this question. Pre-trib rapture people say, he comes as a thief in the night. Well, when he comes as a thief in the night, everything's going to burn. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? You need to be in holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Lord, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new heaven and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right? Righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Otherwise, a wise virgin. Read that parable. And going back to thief in the night, it just reminds me of Revelation 16. This is after the mark of the beast has been implemented. For my pre-trib rapture friends, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. God bless. Bit of a deep one. Thanks for your support prayers. Please share this old school letters, conversation, post-it notes. God bless.